everyone. How are you feeling today? Are you feeling blue? Do you know what's the meaning of feeling blue? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. In another lesson, we have already looked at words describing happiness. But in this lesson, we are also looking at words describing sadness. Do you know Carl Jung? Have you ever heard his name? Well, this is a psychologist who said that happiness will lose its meaning if we don't balance it with sadness. And that's why we have this lesson, because in this lesson, we will look at words talking about sadness. But promise me that you will not be sad while watching this lesson. Please watch it with a smile, like I am smiling. This is your tutor, Michelle. Alright, so let's get started. And here we have the first word, down. So obviously, you know that when you feel happy, you feel excited and you get this feeling of like you're floating or you're going upwards, like we have floating in the air or on the cloud nine. All such feelings are associated with happiness, with the connotation of going upwards. But when you go downwards, it obviously has a connotation of feeling sad. So you can feel down, right, which means that you can feel sad. So its general meaning is just to feel sad. It's not very sad, but just feeling sad on any regular day. So you could say that I'm feeling a bit down today, which means that you're not feeling very happy, you're feeling a bit sad. The other word that we have is low. Again, low also has the connotation of going downwards, and that's why it means sadness. When do you feel low? I feel really low when I'm sick. Do you also feel that way? Yeah, because any sort of sickness can leave you feeling low. So if you're not well, you could say, hey, I'm not feeling too well. I'm feeling low today, which means not necessarily sad, but you're not excited. So a bit sad and unexcited. These are two very general words about sadness, all right? So I'm feeling down or I'm feeling low. You could say it on any general day. All right, now let's look at the next one, miserable. So this is obviously a stronger adjective for saying that you're sad. It's basically beyond sadness, when you feel wretched. Okay, so a situation where you would feel miserable might be, when you were caught in the pouring rain, and you missed your own birthday party, and then you didn't even eat anything wrong, but you got food poisoning. How would you feel after that? Obviously, you would be left miserable. So you could say that I was left miserable that night, which means you were feeling extremely bad or extremely sad. Right, an alternative to this would be wretched. We do not say it wretched, we say wretched. All right, so you could say that I was left miserable, but you cannot say I was left wretched. You could say I was left feeling wretched. So whenever you use the word wretched, you add feeling before it, but you don't have to add feeling before miserable. So feeling wretched for you. And have you heard of the novel Les Miserables, which means the miserable ones? Well, that novel is also about people who were experiencing a very bad life filled with sadness and death around them. And from there we have the word miserable. All right, the next one that we have is morose. Have you ever felt morose? So morose is not just feeling sad. It's a bit more than sad. There's another emotion added with sadness, and that emotion is anger. So if someone is slightly sad but angry as well, that person is called a morose. When I think of a morose person, I can obviously think of a teenager suffering from mood swings, because sometimes you see the teenagers all gay and excited, but sometimes they just turn morose. So an example of this would be my 12-year-old daughter has turned into a morose teenager overnight, which means that she used to be a happy person, a lovely and a happy person when she was not a teenager, but now she has turned really sad and angry because she's having all those mood swings. So This is morose for you, someone who is angry and sad. A morose person generally does not even want to smile. You would always see them angry, and if you're trying to make them smile, they would be furious. So be careful with them. Okay. The next word that we have is despondent. So just like morose, which has sadness and another emotion, which is anger, we have despondent. Despondent also has another emotion with sadness, and that is hopeless. So a person who is hopeless and sad at the same time. So who do you think would be in such a situation? Someone who has recently lost something or is very disappointed. So you could say that my friend is despondent over the loss of his job. So if your friend has lost his job, he is despondent over it. So despondent is usually used with over or about. So my friend is despondent over the loss of his job or about the loss of his job. Okay, now with that we look at other words associated with being sad. But these words have sadness for a reason. So when you talk about the word brokenhearted, you're not just sad, but you are sad because of a reason. And usually these are strong words which have strong reasons to be sad. So a broken-hearted person is sad because their loved one has maybe passed away or has left them. All right. So she was left broken-hearted after her husband left her, which means her husband ended the relationship with her, and that's why she was left broken-hearted. Which means sad because of heartbreak. No, don't stay broken-hearted for too long, not a good thing. Okay, the next one we have is homesick. So a person who is homesick is not sick, all right, but they are feeling sick, which means that they feel very low or down. Why? Because they have been away from their family for too long. What happens when you are away from your family for too long? You start to miss them, don't you? And one fine day when your mom calls you up and you hear her voice, you feel even more homesick, isn't it? So you could say that I was left even more homesick after listening to my mom's voice. So when you're away from home and you feel sad because of that, when you're missing your family. So you're homesick when you miss your family. All right. The next one we have is downhearted. So a downhearted person, again, is sad because of a reason. And in this situation, the reason is because they're very disappointed because they have failed in something. Because they have failed. So when someone has failed an exam, they feel downhearted, and you could tell them, don't feel downhearted, you did your best and that's all you can do. So when someone has failed in doing something, they feel downhearted. So don't be downhearted, cheer up. Okay, now let's look at the next word that we have, distressed. Now again, we move back to the words expressing sadness. There is no particular reason, like these words, brokenhearted and homesick and downhearted, where there was a reason. For distress, there's no reason. Obviously, there's a reason, but you don't know about it. There's not a specific reason. So, do you think of another word when you think of distressed? Well, I think of the word stressed. So, when you're really stressed and worn out and you're so worried about something that you feel distressed, which means you're very worried about something that's gone wrong or someone who's missing, you might feel distressed about them. So you could say that the woman was clearly distressed. The woman was clearly distressed, worried, and upset. And what about a distressed body? What I just told you is feeling distressed, emotionally distressed, but you can also have a distressed body, which means that when you're feeling very tired physically, all right, when you're physically worn out and your body's maybe hurt or injured, then you could say that I'm feeling distressed. Not just that, there's another place where you can use distressed. Have you seen ripped jeans? Jeans that are torn apart? Those jeans are also called distressed jeans. So if you're looking for them, now you know how to talk about it, and you can ask for distressed jeans if you want to buy one. So this is distressed for you. The next word that we have is distraught. So distraught is a stronger adjective than distressed, a much stronger adjective. So when someone is very, very upset because of something that's gone wrong, they're way too worried. And if that's your situation, you could say that I'm distraught, leave me alone. That'll work, trust me. So when you can't think straight and your mind is thinking almost everything, you're pulled apart in different directions, extremely worried, that's when you're distraught. And if you want to use it in a sentence, you could say that the missing child's parents or the missing child's distraught parents demanded information. All right. The next one that we have is inconsolable. This word obviously is an opposite for consolable, all right, or to console someone. So what do you mean by consoling someone? If you see a person who is very sad, you go and hug them and be with them, spend time with them so that they can feel better, all right? So that time you're consoling them, saying good things to them so that they can feel better. But there are some people who are inconsolable. Maybe it's not just people who are inconsolable, it's their situation that makes them feel inconsolable. This means that you can do nothing to comfort them, or you can do nothing to make them happy, and no amount of hugs from the whole world can make them happy. So this is obviously an extremely sad situation. If a person is depressed, they might be inconsolable, or if somebody has lost a family member or someone has died in their family, they might be feeling inconsolable, or after a broken relationship. So someone who cannot be made happy. Someone who cannot be made happy. The next word that we have is depressed. Obviously, as I shared with you, you can be depressed because of a situation. So if you've lost your job, or you've lost a person in your life, you might be depressed, feeling sad, all right? But depression, all right, that is a mental illness. A person suffering from depression can also be depressed. So depressed is when, you have a change of behavior where you're seen to be always sad, and your behavior towards other people changes. You start retracting and you start drawing away from people, and you don't spend time with them. And this must be taken care, all right? People require medication for this. So depression or being depressed is a mental condition. And if you want to use it in a sentence, you could say that she was depressed after her husband left her. All right. Now let's look at the last two phrases that we have. This is used to talk about a general behavior of someone who is very sad, and that person is doing nothing to become happy. So sometimes when you're sad, maybe you just want to perk up, you listen to the music, or you go and meet your friends to feel better. But this person is sitting there moping around, all right? Moping around or feeling sorry for themselves because they're so sad that they don't want to change their behavior. Okay, so they're very stubborn, and mostly these people act like this to draw other people's attention so that people can, really console them and tell them, hey, it's okay. So if someone is moping around or feeling sorry for themselves, then it's very annoying because they're doing nothing to change their mood. So you could say that she was moping around the house and it really annoyed me. Or she was feeling sorry for herself. Something like that. So, moping around and feeling sorry is staying sad by choice. So don't mope around and use this lesson to talk about sadness, all right? Because it's important to balance happiness with sadness. And don't forget to watch my another lesson where we are talking about happiness. Thank you so much. I would love to end this lesson with a smile on my face and on your face as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.